From the National Counterterrorism, Innovation, Technology, and Education Center, this is NCITE Insights. I'm your host, Anthony Roberson. All right, welcome to NCITE Insights. Our guest today is NCITE graduate student Emma Theobald. Emma is an industrial organizational psychology doctoral student at the University of Nebraska Omaha and works on projects examining malevolent creativity with emerging technology. Emma, welcome. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me here today.
Oh, we're really excited to have you today. And, to start off, your work in malevolent creativity has been quite impactful thus far. Um, But your research on malevolent creativity and emerging technologies has shifted over time now that you're in year six of your project. Can you share any interesting case studies for your work with us thus far?
Yeah, and I think to answer that first question of just like how it has shifted, when I first joined this project, I think we were focused on the metaverse, and they had just come off of a trip to DC to talk about the metaverse. So I was kind of thrown into that, and then the shifted focus was to AI, and then we kind of took just went off running with the AI, and that's still like our main focus of our lab with some of the remaining stuff with the metaverse as well. But some interesting cases, and I think how they align with our research questions as well. One that we kind of keep going back to, and I'm sure has been talked about probably on other podcasts as well, as the attack or the attempted assassination of the Queen of England um, with a individual who was having some mental health issues and was also interacting with a AI girlfriend. And what's interesting about that specifically and how it relates now to our research is it was looking at in that case he got like some confidence to go and actually attempt the assassination through the AI chatbot, and that's something that we're still looking at within research questions today. So there was a case that happened quite some years ago, and we brought it up a couple of times, but now we're actually trying to answer those questions and develop those research methodologies to answer that. So we have these speculations that happen because of cases, but now we're actually testing it to see is it true or not. But that's just one case out of, unfortunately, numerous amounts of malign AI cases, and they seem to be growing and growing as the days go by, which is not good, but also makes our research that much more important too.
Absolutely. And as, more and more events occur, I'm sure this creates a lot more research questions, right? So I know that you have several studies in the works at different stages. Can you talk a bit about managing a research pipeline that includes data collection, submissions, and new research question development simultaneously?
Mhm. So it is, I have to give kudos just to the lab and to our lab group as well, because we work together very well, and we're all very excited, and just we want to be helpful for each other too. Because so I am leading a few studies, but our main lab lead, Alexis D'Amato, she leads most of the studies as well. And then we have also Ara's. She is on several projects here at NCITE, but she also leads some studies. So we're all leading some stuff, but we're also helping each other out at the same time. And to answer that project pipeline question, it there's a little bit of chaos sometimes just because we are trying to do so much and we're trying to answer so many different questions. But I think our views as industrial organizational psychologists as well is that we need to highlight the practitioner oriented deliverables of this is what we found from our study, and then we also are trying to focus on that academic oriented deliverables, which is journal submissions, which we submit something and that might not come out for months to years even sometimes. So trying to find that balance can sometimes be tricky and a little overwhelming at times, but we know that it's really important to have that dual perspective, and to get to both of those audiences as well.
Yeah, that's very interesting when you talk about, presenting to different stakeholders, whether it's practitioners or academics. I know you recently traveled to Washington, D.C. to share some insights with government stakeholders. Can you speak a bit more about communicating with practitioners and government stakeholders and how that differs from, academic audiences in terms of framing your work?
Yeah, so we went out to DC and we were had the ability to show them an issue that we've been tracking for a couple of months of the use of these uncensored and obliterated AI models and just the proliferation of them online as well. People are using them for different things, but one of our main concerns is people are going to use them for malign reasons because these AI models, if you ask them, how do I assassinate X, Y, or Z, they'll give you a detailed plan. And the reactions from the members, it was exactly kind of what we wanted them to see, and it was really kind of enlightening and great that we had this issue that we thought was important, and we brought it up to them, and they were like, our point of contact was like, we also think this is important. But seeing their reactions of this is exactly the point we wanted to draw across was these models can be dangerous and the line for their malign use is pretty direct, but seeing them type in these prompts that can be malign, or I think one of them was like, how do you assassinate or kidnap a Congress member, and then seeing they're like, yeah, this is terrifying. And that was the point that we wanted to draw on, was that these are very scary and they're out there and nothing's really been done about them yet. So being able to see an issue, identify what our goal was from the visit, and then also go there and then have them have those reactions, it's really like confirming, because sometimes with emerging AI use and malign use, we're like, is this an issue? Can we see this as an issue? But that's something that we saw was clearly going to be a problem. And just for it to be received that well and people really take it seriously when we presented it to them was amazing. It's exactly kind of the goal of being like that academic, but also the practitioner, like the research come to light viewpoint. So,
What makes your lab so special?
yeah, I think a lot of us are industrial organizational psychologists, and then we also have Dr. Elson and Jack Rigg, who are the tech side, or the innovation technology, science and technology side as well. But I think what makes our team and our lab really special is that we are I/O psychologists, and we have the tech influence as well. But we are coming into this with just wanting to learn. So we have a very high need for cognition from the creativity research, if people are familiar. But we think about these difficult questions, and we take the difficult questions from just thinking, brainstorming, to actually having those methods. And I think how our team works together is pretty vital to that. So we have, like, for example, we have a first year, Margaret Shercliffe, who came into the project similar to me as well, who didn't really know much about like the AI research. That's how I came in as well. And then by the end of the year, she is talking to congressional members about uncensored AI models in DC. And she did an amazing job with that. And I think that's also due to like the support that we all give each other. So if someone's like, I'm a little nervous about this, can you help me with X, Y, or Z? We're always willing to help. We're always willing to get everybody to the finish line or assist each other, just because we are so interested in these research questions.
Yeah, it sounds like you've had an impressive run as a graduate student at UNO with being able to, show demos and have other engagements with pretty high level government stakeholders. But this didn't seem like it was always in the works for your academic career. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, you originally came to UNO to pursue your master's degree in IO psychology, and now you're on your way to earning a doctorate. Can you speak a bit about your academic journey and your motivational factors that led you to want to pursue a doctoral degree?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting pathway that I took, and I think I remind myself of it sometimes when I'm feeling a little burnt out on research, as it happens with everybody, especially during grad school. But when I first came to Omaha, I visited for the first time on my visit day to the graduate program. I'd never been to Nebraska before, or Omaha. And I was surprised that Omaha was an actual city, which I know like people from Omaha will hate me for that, but I have grown to love Omaha. But I came here just thinking I'm going to be here for 2 years and I'm going to get my master's degree and then I'm going to go like sail off into the sunset and get my job somewhere. But then I came here and was added to this AI malevolent creativity project and was working with Dr. Hunter and Dr. Elson and also working with Alexis as well that first year. And I just fell in love with the research process of just asking these difficult questions and not knowing directly like how to study them, what questions should ask, what questions should we focus on. But it's all these complex, like emerging issues and actually being able to answer those questions through research and designing research methods like or research methodology that I really like that process. And I kind of just fell in love with that aspect. And also I came to school to be an industrial organizational psychologist, and I'm still doing that, but I never thought that I'd be able to study like counterterrorism. And I was able to do some work with gaming and radicalization. And there's just so many different like facets of research that I was had the opportunity to contribute to that I would never have thought in a million years that I would have been able to do. So just being able to go into whatever direction has been amazing. So that's kind of what made me switch to that PhD route, because I was like, I have so many different research things that I want to do, and in 2 years I'm not going to be able to get them done. So you might as well spend 4 or 5 years, you know.
Wow, that's fascinating. And speaking of the future being uncertain, I'm curious to hear, looking ahead, what are you or what are the most exciting or pressing research questions you want to tackle next?
Yeah, I think our lab is currently undergoing like some studies for this, but I think the agentic AI question is a big one right now because that's like an emerging thing, and we kind of shifted our focus and had some deliverables out last fall about agentic AI. And I think that's also a strength of our lab too, is like as things are emerging, we're actually like already studying them prior to them becoming like bigger issues. But I think that's something that is interesting to me, is seeing how people will use agentic AI or how agentic AI will act in a malign way in the future compared to generative AI. And that's an emerging issue that there hasn't been too many malign use cases yet. Unfortunately, I don't think that will be like that for long, unfortunately, with how fast everything is moving. But I think that's kind of the core one. And then also, I really like the gaming space as well. So to just continue to do research in that space, because that's also developing as well. So.
Awesome, wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing your insights both into your research and your personal academic journey. We really appreciate it. And yeah, it was great talking with you. Thank you for joining us.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of NCITE Insights. The National Counterterrorism Innovation Technology and Education Center, or NCITE, is an academic center of excellence for the Department of Homeland Security. Looking to find out more? Check out our website at incite.unomaha.edu or email us at incite@unomaha.edu.